Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Healing Embodied podcast. This is your host, Chelsea Horton. And today I'm going to be covering another one of the most frequently asked questions that we get. I'm going to be doing several of these as kind of like a series. And one of the most frequently asked questions that we get that is often coupled with a lot of distress and confusion is the question, why do my anxious thoughts feel so real? Right? You can have these thoughts about your relationship or whatever your anxious thoughts are latching onto. And the people we work with are often so distressed by the fact that it doesn't feel like it's just a thought. You hear often like, oh, thoughts are just thoughts. Well, for our clients, and in my experience, it didn't feel like just a thought because of what you literally were feeling in your body as you had that thought. So when you have an intrusive thought, it's accompanied by all of these sensations of alarm and panic and dis-ease in your body. And many people think like, okay, in order to overcome my anxiety and deal with these anxious thoughts, I have to tackle the thoughts. Every single thought that pops up, I have to do something about the content of that thought because it's the thought that's the problem. It's the thought that feels so distressing. But overcoming anxiety isn't about stopping the thoughts or dealing with every single one that pops up, because honestly, we can't control every single thought that pops into our brain. Like, we have so many thoughts, tens of thousands of thoughts that go through our mind every single day. We cannot control what pops into our mind, and we can't control often even like what the content of that thought is. What makes the thoughts feel so distressing is the alarm in your body. It's the reaction of your body. This is what we're going to be looking at and talking about today. The reaction of your body, the alarm in your body is what makes the thoughts feel real. Your body is having a very real reaction to this thought, right? The thought might be totally imaginary, as most anxious thoughts are, but the reaction of your body is very, very real. It's very visceral. It's happening right here, right now. Even though it's just a thought, your body is reacting as if there is a real and present danger in your immediate environment that you have to do something about. And it's important to understand what's going on in the body, because what happens in the body is actually perpetuating the anxiety cycle. When your body reacts to anxious thoughts with alarm and panic and tension and fight or flight energy, your brain fires off more thoughts that are congruent with that nervous system state. So if your body is in this state of alarm and anxiety and panic, your brain is like, oh crap, we are in danger. There is a threat. We need to keep thinking more fear-based thoughts that match this state in the body. And the more you go down that rabbit hole of those thoughts, the more alarm is created in your body. And the more alarm that's created in your body, the more intense your thoughts get. The more you feed into those thoughts, the more intense the alarm in the body gets. See where I'm going with this? Dr. Russell Kennedy, author of award-winning book, Anxiety RX, calls this the alarm and anxiety cycle. We have the anxious thoughts of the mind and the alarm in the body. And most people get stuck in the anxiety and alarm cycle. They go back and forth, over and over and over. It's just rehearsed over and over and over. And then certain thoughts automatically trigger a certain reaction automatically triggers a certain thought because it's been rehearsed so many times. I remember when my relationship anxiety was really, really intense, one of the familiar patterns of my body was to get like a stomach ache when I had anxious thoughts. And even after I had worked through so much of that anxiety, for a while after that, whenever I'd get just a stomach ache, I could feel my brain wanting to come up with the usual anxious thoughts that it used to always come up with, because the stomach ache in my body always went along with the anxious thoughts about my relationship. So it was just so interesting for me to notice that even certain just reactions of the body can trigger certain thoughts. So as you might be able to tell where I'm going with this, a key component of overcoming anxiety is learning to rewire and regulate the overactive alarm in the body that gets triggered whenever we have these anxious thoughts. And the more we learn to regulate our body and regulate that overactive alarm, it's also not going to be triggering more and more of those anxious thoughts. We're going to be interrupting that anxiety alarm cycle between the mind and the body. And look, this is a lot easier said than done, because this alarm anxiety cycle has become like hardwired in your brain and your nervous system, because it's been practiced, unintentionally practiced over and over and over again. So I just want to acknowledge and honor the fact that it's not easy. It's so hard. I get it. It feels so impossible when we're first starting out with beginning to break this cycle. But I also want you to know that it can be done. It is possible to break this anxiety alarm cycle and rewire what's happening in your body and your nervous system. Like, my body used to scream and panic whenever I had thoughts like, what if I'm not in the right relationship? What if I'm going down the wrong path? Like, what if we don't work out and get divorced down the road? My body would react with so much alarm and panic and just fear. And now if someone even were to say to me, oh my God, you're in the wrong relationship, my body would have no reaction. If ever a thought, or I read something that's like, how to know you're in the right relationship, my body has no reaction to it. I have neutralized the emotional charge of that. Now I actually kind of giggle at thoughts like that and concepts of like, oh my gosh, oh, what if you're in the wrong relationship? Like, now you can hear me, like I'm making fun of it in a way, like for myself. Because I have done so much work in rewiring that fear and alarm in my body that was so like tightly associated with the thoughts in my mind. And learning to feel safe in your body, learning to regulate your nervous system, I cannot emphasize it enough, is absolutely key if we want to truly overcome anxiety and not get thrown into an absolute spiral every time a thought pops into our brain. Learning what was going on in my body and in my nervous system, and learning to focus more on my body than my mind was life-changing. It was absolutely key and essential for me to break free from the anxiety and for the thoughts to not hold so much power over me. I learned to feel safe in my body and feel safe in my relationship, feel safe in the face of uncertainty. Your body really is your greatest ally and asset and best friend in this whole anxiety healing journey. And I really wish in the beginning of my experience with relationship anxiety that I had known and understood the cycle between my mind and my body. I wish I had known from the get-go what was going on in my nervous system. I wish I had known what needed to happen in my body in order for the anxiety to not feel like it was so all-consuming. And I found this stuff out. I learned this stuff like 2 years into my relationship anxiety. And once I stumbled upon it, I was so, so grateful. But I don't want you to have to wait years and years and years to get access to information that is going to be so game-changing in your process of overcoming anxiety. So I have created a 1-hour mini course called The Science of Healing Relationship Anxiety. I want you to have the awareness that is going to help you break this cycle and for your anxious thoughts to not feel so overwhelming and all-consuming. In this 1-hour mini course, I walk you through like what's really going on beneath the surface of the thoughts from a brain, body, and neuroscience perspective. I go in depth into the crucial piece that most people don't integrate into their anxiety healing journey. That is an absolute must. And I bet you can guess what that crucial piece is. We've kind of talked about it here together. And then finally, I teach you the neuroscience behind changing the pattern of anxiety in a way that actually lasts. It's not just playing whack-a-mole with every single thought that comes into your brain. We're going to talk about what is it that's needed to really, really change this cycle. I made this a super affordable and accessible mini course. You can get it at the link in the description. It's only $17 US, and I've linked it there below. Again, this 1-hour mini course is going to really give you the essential perspective and information that I really, 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 really wish that I had in the beginning of my relationship anxiety journey. I really hope that today's podcast or video, wherever you're watching this, I hope that this was so helpful for you, enlightening for you, and really gave you new perspective on how to see your anxiety and what's going on when you're having anxious thoughts. Sending you so much love and strength and grace and compassion as you navigate the messiness of this journey. And I can't wait to chat with you next time.